Hey girl, let's have a quick conversation. Guys, welcome to my podcast, Redefining Her. This is episode 1. The whole purpose of this podcast is for us to have uncomfortable conversations where we can glow and grow together, because at the end of the day, I want to win. I want to see you win. And most importantly, I want us to win together. Now, if this is your first time seeing my face, I get it. I am not consistent when it comes to YouTube. Allow me to reintroduce myself. Hi, my name is Jasmine. I am a 36-year-old woman. Yes, that sounds so crazy to say, but your girl's about to be 40 in a couple of years. But one thing that I have learned in these 36 years is how to pivot my life. I will honestly say I am a master at pivoting my life to be the best me that I can be. Now, let me give you a little recap so you can understand where I'm coming from, right? Because to understand where I'm going, you gotta see where I'm coming from. My name is Jasmine. I already told you that. I am 36 years old. I already told you that. I'm originally from the south side of Chicago. Yes, 58th and Normal, down the street from Leon. Even though this is where my life began, that is not where it ended, right? I am a college graduate. I went to Western Illinois University. I have 3 degrees ranging from history, because I have American history and world history, and law enforcement justice administration. At one point in time, I wanted to be a police officer, and quickly after graduating college, I realized that was not exactly what I wanted to do. By that time, I had already moved out of Chicago, Illinois, and I was living in St. Louis, Missouri with a boyfriend that was... We're not going to talk about that. But he was a boyfriend. I'll give that to him. He was something. But I relied on him a lot. I fell into very traditional relationship goals, and I'm going to be honest with y'all. I was 27 years old, and he put me out, and I didn't have a pot to piss in and not even a car to sit in because the car was in his name. And I had to redo my entire life at the age of 27, and I thought the easiest way for me to do it is to drive across the country with everything I could pack up in his car, including my cat, and I moved to Dallas, Texas in 2016. My time here has been such a blessing. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I came here with $600 in my pocket, like I said, a car that was not truly mine, and no job. Like, I honestly would not suggest anybody do that, but I did it, and it worked out for me. God be the glory, right? God be the glory, because it definitely could have went so differently for me. But I am here, I am thriving, and I have pivoted my life so many times over, from wanting to be a police officer to wanting to move across the country to everything in between. And I've learned a lot of things during that time, and I've grown so much during that time. And that is the reason why I wanted to sit down and make this podcast, because I want to be that light at the end of a tunnel for a girl that might be going through what I went through. So that is what redefining her means to me, and hopefully redefining her means that to you by the end of this season, right? Because we got seasons, baby. I got a plan for you guys, all right? But one thing that I do want you guys to promise me when it comes to this podcast is that you are going to choose you every single day. Every single day. Like I said, I want this to be a community where we grow and glow together so we can be the best version of ourselves. So let me tell you how the layout of this podcast is going to work. Every week we're going to hit a topic, right? This week is going to be about discipline. Next week might be about your faith. The next week might be about sisterhood. The next week might be about celibacy. Baby, we're going to hit every single corner that we can possibly hit. And then we are going to have a real honest conversation. The first couple of episodes will be with me. I am planning on bringing on some guests when we hit certain topics so we can elaborate a little bit deeper in them. And then every single week I will be giving you guys a daily activity, or should I say a weekly activity, that I want you guys to do. You don't necessarily have to do it, but it would definitely be beneficial for you to do it in order for you to develop just into the best you that you can be. And that's all I really want. And like I said before, I just want us all to be extremely successful with everything going on in the world. I just want to see all my girls win. So without further ado, let's get into the very first episode of Redefining Her. Okay, so this episode is going to be all about doing it scared. Just do it scared. This is going to be an honest conversation about discipline. And this is something that I'm kind of talking to y'all, but I'm really talking to myself about, because I was supposed to launch this podcast on January 1st, and it is quite literally April 5th. So let's just say your girl's a little late with it. And so I want to talk about discipline. What is discipline? How do you overcome discipline? Because I feel like we always talk about, like, you have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined to do this. Discipline over motivation, because you may not have motivation every single day. But what is discipline? What is discipline? A lot of people treat discipline like a punishment, right? You usually hear that word around things that you have to do, like you have to lose weight, you have to eat right, you have to go to work, you have to go to school. But I want us to redefine what discipline is, and I feel like that was one thing that I had to do personally in my life, and that really helped me be a little bit more focused going into Q2 in 2026, is understanding that discipline is not something that I have to do, it's something that I am privilege to do, because it takes a lot of privilege to be able to buy a $600 camera and live in an apartment complex where I can make this setup and look this way. It takes a lot of privilege to be able to wear 100 and something, actually it's a little bit more than 100 and something, it's about $700 worth of makeup on my face, right? It takes a certain level of privilege to be able to do that, and I am afforded all these privileges to help me be disciplined. And me being disciplined is just going to allow me to have more privileges in my life. And I think that's kind of how I navigated the idea of like, okay, I'm going to do all of these goals, even though I'm scared, even though I don't know how I'm going to do it, how it's going to be received, if anybody's going to watch it, if anybody's going to care, because I've been given so many privileges to do it. And my privileges come from the fact that I am guided to be more disciplined, if that makes sense. I feel like once we reframe what discipline is, it will help you better navigate how to handle discipline and hold yourself accountable. When you look at it as something you are privileged to do, other than something you are mandated to do, it will make you want to do it a little bit more. Now let's talk about discipline versus feelings, because the reality of it is that you're never going to feel like doing the hard things. Even if you reframe it and you're like, oh my God, I'm privileged to be able to do it, sometimes you're still going to want to be in that bed. Sometimes you're still going to want to relax and chill and not do it. But understand that discipline shows up before you do, and understand that you are framing the best version of yourself is going to require you to have a little bit of sacrifice. I hate to tell you, sis, it's going to require you to have a little bit of sacrifice. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the 3 types of discipline you're going to need as a woman in order to transform your life. Number 1 is going to be your body discipline, what you eat, how you sleep, and how you move your body. Number 2 is going to be your mind discipline, what you consume, what you tell yourself, and what you listen to. And number 3 is going to be your spiritual discipline, your prayer, your consistency with the Lord. Yes, I am a Christian. I am so sorry. I know some of y'all be getting upset about that. Yes, I am a Christian, but your spiritual discipline is very important, right? No matter what your religion is. But your prayer, your stillness, and your consistency with the Lord or Allah, whoever you believe in, right? Those are going to be your 3 type of disciplines that you're going to need in order to be the best version of you, right? So number 1, let's start with the body, right? Discipline in those areas without even thinking what you eat. If you know you somebody who buy that pack of cookies and you about to eat that whole pack of cookies when you sit down and you think you're going to eat one, you think you read the serving size, you think you know exactly what you about to eat, don't buy them cookies. Leave them cookies at the store. That's something I had to really work with, because Target has these little Mandarin cookies, and I used to always buy them, and I would always be like, well, I'll just eat the serving size, which is 3, and then the 3 turned to 6, the 6 turned to 9, and the 9 turned to 12, and the 12 turned into the whole dang on container gone. The whole dang on container gone. And I had to realize that in order for me to be disciplined in my weight loss journey, I just had to take those things out of my environment where I know I did not have self-control in. I know that I am not operating in. So I had to take that out. So now when I'm at home, I'm disciplined with my diet without even thinking about being disciplined in my diet, because there's no way for me to mess up unless I get in this car and drive all the way to the store, which I'm not finna do because gas is $5 a gallon now. I'm not doing that. That's a perfect example of how to be disciplined without thinking about it, is to remove yourself from places and things that will allow you to be undisciplined, or removing things from you, I should say, that will allow you to be undisciplined. Like if you are on a spiritual journey / body journey, if you're trying to be abstinent and you know when you get along with that man, you get that tingly feeling, remove yourself. Remove yourself from things that will make you fail. You may gonna have to tell them, man, we got a curfew. We got to treat this like Jim Bob and Michelle. Not too much, because you know they be raising a lot of. I help you be disciplined without thinking. Now, let's get into your mind discipline. What you consume. Nobody want to talk about that. What you listen to and how you talk to yourself. Now, watch what you listen to. Now, don't get me wrong. I love a good sexy red. I love a good sexy red. I love a good kin to men. But the reality of it is I'm in a relationship and I want my relationship to go a little bit farther. And I'm listening about how niggas ain't shit. I'm about to do you like you do me, even though he ain't did me like nothing. But you know, I'm still got that gut in me. I'm trying to listen to my kin to men. Yeah, that's gonna affect your discipline in your relationship. I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you are single and you ain't trying to mingle and you trying to live your best little thotty life, then cool. But if you are really looking to elevate your relationship to marriage status, I hate to tell you, Listening again to man when you're in a happy relationship will allow you to lack in discipline in your relationship, because what you're going to consume is directly going against your goals. I am so sorry to tell you that. Let me repeat that. You cannot listen to ain't shit music when you are trying to be a better person, because you will adapt that ain't shit mindset, which will allow you to be lazy in your goals, and you will lack that discipline in your goals. I know that's something I had to come to Jesus with that one. I was just like, dang, I'm over here listening to Ken the Man. I'm over here listening to Sexy Red. All of a sudden, I hate this nigga. I'm looking at this nigga like, damn, he getting on my nerves. He ain't did shit. He over there playing a video game trying to figure out what's wrong with her. Whole time I'm consuming things that is taken away from the discipline and the lack, taken away from my goals of us. You know, you gotta stop that. You also, the same thing goes with negative self-talk. If you keep looking at yourself, telling yourself that you ugly, you this, you that, you need to be prettier, you need to be skinnier, your hair needs to be longer, you need to be lighter or darker, whatever the case may be, you're gonna start consuming that. And if you constantly tell yourself, I just need to be skinnier, I need to be prettier. I know some people say toxic motivation works for them. Toxic motivation statistically does not work for most people. Right? Now, you might be a one-off, but the reality of it is that negative self-talk would then have you feeling negative about yourself, would then have you not thinking about your goals, would then have you not as disciplined as you're supposed to be. So if you are consuming nothing but positivity with what you listen to, what you watch, and what you say to yourself, you will have nothing but positivity to do it. If instead of saying, I'm ugly, I need to go to the gym, I need to lose weight, look at it, like I said before, as a privilege. I have 2 able-bodied legs, and I am able to go to the gym. I am so beautiful, and I am so lucky for this, and I'm about to get up. I'm about to jump up, and I'm about to go to the gym, because I am so privileged to be able to go to the gym. And I'm telling you, those minor shifts and mindsets will change how you view your discipline. And again, doing your discipline without even thinking. Number 3, let's talk about your spiritual discipline. Like I said, this does not matter if you are a Christian, you're practicing Wicca, Voodoo, Hoodoo, Muslim. It's for everybody. If you, or even atheist, you could be even atheist. Now if you're atheist, you ain't got no spirit. Hey, that sounded bad. Never mind. But when you are practicing spiritual discipline, you need to be very involved into your word. You need to make sure that you are in a complete understanding that your time is not your time. You're working in God's time, Allah time. I don't know what the other people practice. I'm going to be honest with y'all. So I'm just going to talk about Jesus, because that's what I know. Okay? I'm sorry. If you want to skip past this, I will put the thing right here so you can skip past the spiritual stuff. I know it might be a lot for some people, so I'll skip past that. I'll give y'all. But for my spiritual girlies, my Christian girlies, you have to understand that your plan is not God's plan. And at the end of the day, you have to sit in stillness and you have to sit in prayer. And I know that is so hard to say, because it has been so many times. Like, remember when you was younger, or not even when you were younger, remember when you go to like your mama or your grandma and you come to them with a problem, they just be like, pray. You be like, dang, okay now, but like, what's the solution outside of praying right now? Like, can I get something else? And they just like, pray. Unfortunately, yeah, when it comes to your spiritual discipline, you just got to pray. You got to stay in your stillness, and you just have to use that Bible. That Bible is law. That Bible is law. Do not deviate from the plan when it comes to this. Now, that I don't have a way for you to be disciplined without even thinking on that one. You just have to do it. You just got to do it. And I feel like over the month of March, I really had to come to that conclusion. So if you have not watched my other videos, you'll notice that I have discipline diaries. I only have one up. I'm actually recording a second one right now. But I was planning on doing my discipline diaries. I had this whole planned out for March, and I'm gonna be honest that God was not in the center of my plans in March. It was very much me going out to get Botox and getting this and getting filler, and it was a lot of superficial things, and I didn't even factor in going to church in the month of March, right? And I got to work on March 2nd, and I was told that I was gonna be let go for a situation, which I talked about in my video previous to this, if you wanna watch my individual video about my time at Sephora. But I was told that I was going to be let go. And I sat there and I thought, like, I got in my car and I remember I was talking to my friend. My friend was sick. My friend literally threw up. She's like, wait, hold on. She threw up because me and her worked together, and she was my friend before we started the job. So it was really really sad for her, and it was sad for my team, and it was really like a gut punch for a lot of people, because it was so much stuff happening at that time, and it was like I was the sacrificial lamb to be like, to tell the whole team, like, get yourselves back in shape, because it's what I say goes for the store manager. And it's like, instead of sitting there and thinking, oh my God, I can't believe that I had these plans and I lost my income, and how am I going to make this? How am I going to make that? I thought, like, God, what do you want me to learn from this? And I realized that when I was looking at my month of March plans, I had things that was against the Bible. on that plan. I didn't even have the Bible in mind at all in that plan. And I removed my main source of income because he wanted me to teach me. He wanted to teach me to always put God first. And in that month, I did not put God first. And I sat down and I thank God for showing me that lesson. And I know that sounds crazy, like you lose almost $100,000 a year. How are you thanking God for showing you a lesson? But at the end of the day, I knew that he was teaching me that month, because I did good in January, I did good in February, but that month of March, I was getting an extra bonus check. I was thinking about the Botox, the filler, the clubs, the parties, the this, the that. I wasn't going to take my new membership class at my church. I wasn't going to be able to go to church this month, and all of this because I had so many things to do. I was trying to do Sunday Fun Day on my Sundays off instead of going to worship the Lord. And he said, you know what, I'm going to take them finances from you. I'm going to take them finances from you. I'm going to make it where you ain't got no money but to go to church. Not to say that's the reason I went to church, but I had to sit back and really take that look and be like, you know what? Thank you, Lord. Thank you. Because if it wasn't for you removing my finances, I would have not been able to center you the way that I have centered you the month of March. Every time I went to church, I got a message that I felt like Pastor Tim was talking directly to me. He might as well have been on that. He might as well have texted my phone, sent the voice memo. Okay, now Jasmine, this is the second series of Seeds, and we about to talk about X, Y, and Z, because it felt like it hit me so close because it was exactly what I needed. And that was something that I was not going to learn if I had stuck to my original plan. And I would have stuck to my original plan if I didn't lose my job. If I didn't lose my job, I would have stuck to my original plan, and I would have missed out on a word that I needed to hear in the month of March. So yeah, when it comes to with spiritual discipline, I don't got no tips, I don't got no tricks, but sis, you just gonna have to hold strong. Sis, you just gonna have to hold strong. Okay, now this is the time step for all my girls that did not want to hear about Jesus. You know, I'm not one of them people over here like Christianity. I am just here to live my life that you can see the God in me, and if you decide that you want to find out about him on your own, you can always DM me, you can message me, you can talk to me about it, or you can talk to somebody else. But I would never be the person that will force you and make you feel like you're not safe in an environment because you do not believe in Jesus. Okay. So now that we talked about the different types of disciplines, and I gave you a few examples on how you can be disciplined and without even thinking. And like I said, I very much think that the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins kind of touches on this. So if you want to read that, you can definitely do that. And she has a podcast as well. So now that we talked about the 3 types of ways that you can be disciplined in order to become the best version of you, and I gave you some tips and some tricks on how to be disciplined without thinking, I want to talk about celebrating the small wins, because I feel like it's one of 2 things when it comes to me and what I've noticed with other people. You either come up with a plan and you do so much detail with the plan. You didn't talk to ChatGPT, you didn't talk to Claude, you didn't came up with the template, you didn't came up with the outline, and for some reason you look at that and you ain't accomplished shit but talk to AI on what you should do. But you look at the plan and you feel good. You feel like you accomplished it even though you haven't accomplished anything. Nothing, right? It's either that or you set up a goal and you are halfway through accomplishing your goal and you're beating yourself up because you didn't hit the goal and you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and so you give up because you didn't lose 100 pounds even though you lost 60 but you didn't hit the 100, so you're a failure, right? I always notice it's like one of those 2 things, right? And I feel like one of the biggest ways in order for you to accomplish your goals is to celebrate the little wins, right? Every single time that I hit a weight loss goal, I celebrate, right? And now my weight loss goal, if you guys don't know, I have lost 57 pounds. I started off at 200. Actually lost a little bit more than 57 pounds. I've lost 60 pounds at this point. I started off at 243 pounds. I'm currently 273 pounds. So is that 60? Don't give me no line. I'm not that great at math. But anyways, I have lost some weight. And every single time that I set a goal for myself when it comes to weight, it's going to be only 10 pounds. My goal is to lose 10 pounds. And once I accomplish those little bitty goals, then that's when I do a little celebration for myself. Like, I didn't eat crawfish all January, February. As soon as I got down to 180, I had that crawfish, baby. I was in there like, I love me some crawfish. Me and crawfish go together real bad, right? I think by separating your goals, it makes it easier for you to be disciplined because you're quicker to get a reward, right? And I know how some people be like, oh, that toxic motivation, be like, you don't need a reward, you're not a dog, you don't need a treat. Yes, I do. You don't know me. I need a treat. So if you're someone who is lacking discipline, sometimes it might be that your goals are just too large and it's taking you longer to obtain it, and you're not getting that satisfaction of accomplishing something. Therefore, it makes it easier for you to give up. And if you're someone like that, then you need to go ahead and set smaller goals. Like I said, every single time I'm on a weight loss journey, my goal is only 10 pounds. I am trying to get to 10 pounds. And I follow this girl on TikTok, and she actually does 1 pound, 1 pound a week. That's all she's trying to lose. Now me, but I need to lose more than 1 pound. I got a lot of things to lose. So I need to lose more than 1 pound. But I've noticed that once you separate your goals and make them smaller, it is easier for you to become more disciplined with your goals. Now, so we have talked about what my new podcast is, Redefine Her. I've talked about my life, right? I done told you some tips and tricks that I have done in order to be more disciplined. I've told you guys how to set up y'all goals. We have had that little bit of combo, right? Because this is just the intro. I don't want to do too much on the intro, right? I want to give you guys an activity. After I just said I didn't want to do too much, but anyways, I want to give you guys a quick activity on what I want y'all to do for the next week. So if you might be noticing that this podcast is coming out every Sunday at 8 o'clock. The reason why I am setting this podcast to come out every Sunday at 8 o'clock is because I want this to be your chit chat girl time for your Sunday reset. You know, most of us I work retail. But most of us work 9 to 5s, and Sunday is usually the day you get your hair done, you get your nails done, you go to church, you write down your goals, your meal prep, you clean the house. And I want my videos to be a part of your Sunday reset. So every single Sunday at 8 o'clock, these videos will be loaded up to my YouTube, as you can see. And every single podcast, I'm going to give you an activity so that you can work on for the week. Like I said, this is all about us glowing and growing together so we can be the best version of ourselves. So let's talk about what this week's activity is going to be. Now, this activity is going to be over the course of 5 days. Now, I'm going to have you write down 3 non-negotiables that you are going to do this week. Whether this is pertaining to your spiritual discipline, whether it's pertaining to your mental discipline or your physical. Actually, if you are someone who believes in spiritual, like I said, if you are someone, I would say make 1 non-negotiable for each of the different branches, right? So you can do something like I want to pray for 30 minutes a day. A non-negotiable could be I want to be on a treadmill for 45 minutes a day, or I'm not going to consume any negative talk all week. Whatever it is, write down 3 non-negotiables that you're going to do every single day that pertains to the 3 types of discipline that we talked to today, right? And I want you to check yourself. Every single night, I want you to look back at your 3 disciplines, and I want you to see if you did it. And if you have done it for the full 5 days that I want you to do, I want you to tell me, come back to this video and tell me, has that changed your life, and has that changed the way that you view discipline? Easy, right? Now, this is something that I am going to do for myself as well. So I'm going to tell you the 3 non-negotiables that I am going to do for the next 5 days. Number 1, when it comes to my body discipline, I am going to work out every single day for the next 5 days. Yes, whether it could be something as simple as a workout class, 45 minutes on a treadmill, yoga, whatever it is, or just lifting weights, I'm going to move my body 45 minutes every single day for the next 5 days. My mental discipline is going to be no negative self-talk. I am not going to look down on myself. I am going to give myself nothing but positive affirmations for this entire week. And I'm actually recording a Discipline Diaries Part 2, or my second episode of Discipline Diaries, where I can really go in on that in that video. If you want to go watch that, I'll make sure I can incorporate this in there. And then for my spiritual discipline, I am going to dedicate 30 minutes to God every single day, to our Lord and Savior. Now, I am working through this book, a 30-day prayer for my man, but I do want to spend 30 minutes outside of that for myself. So those are the 3 things that I plan on doing. Like I said, working out for 45 minutes for the next 5 days. I plan on no negative self-talk, nothing but positive affirmations coming to myself, because I am very negative on myself. I'm just going to be honest with you. And then I'm going to spend 30 minutes with the Lord every single day outside of my daily devotions that I am currently doing for my man, right? So those are going to be the 3 non-negotiables that I am doing starting Monday. So starting on April 6th, going on until April 11th. And then when I make my video on April 11th for next week's podcast, we're going to review how that made me feel, how I felt about it. And I'm going to put that in, like I said, in my Discipline Diary, so you can go ahead and watch it if you want to see that, because I think that video is going to come out Monday. So then that way we can actually see how that actually changed my life and how it views my discipline. But y'all, our time is coming to an end. Thank you so much for watching the very first episode of Redefining Her, where we glow and grow together so we can be the best versions of ourselves. I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to say that so much that it's drilled in your head, and you understand that we are here to be the best versions of ourselves. So This episode, like I said, was a quick introduction of who I am, most importantly, and some of the tips and tricks that I have overcome with being disciplined, and how to do it scared, and how to do it without thinking, and the different type of disciplines that you should keep in mind when you are navigating how to be the best version of yourself. Next week's episode, we're going to talk about healing. Child, we're going to talk about healing. The next week's episode, we're going to talk about the wounds that you keep ignoring and how they keep showing up in your life. Now, this one I am super excited for. I'm actually excited for the entire season, especially for the grand finale, because maybe I got it already planned out. Because I got a little present for you guys at the very, 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 very end. So y'all gonna have to stick it through with me. But next week, we're going to talk about healing, talk about the wounds that we keep ignoring and how they keep showing up in your life, and how you do need to heal those wounds in order for us, I say us, me and you, how we need to heal those wounds in order for us to grow as human beings, right? Now, I am done with this episode. Again, thank you so much for watching. I am so happy that I finally did it scared. I sat down and I made my first video, my first podcast. I'm a little scared, but your girl did it. And I look good doing it. I ain't gonna lie, I look good doing it, right? Now, if this is your first time seeing me, like I said, if you want to follow me, I'll leave all of my socials on the screen so that you can follow me. And just remember that discipline is not a form of punishment. It is a form of self-love. Okay? All right, bye guys.